Hi, this is Fred. I'm the CEO of Blindside Networks, the company that started the BigBlueButton project, and we've been working with Instructure since 2012. I want to answer the question I get asked a lot, which is why Instructure integrated BigBlueButton into the core of Canvas. And the answer boils down to the classroom is not a boardroom. And using tools such as video conferencing tools for virtual classes does not fit. And it's because these tools were designed for meetings. But the goal of the virtual classroom is not to meet, it is to learn. And so the gaps in these tools force three compromises. One is there's limited tools for built-in engagement. They are not designed for teaching and learning. The second is there's lack of visibility into student performance. They have no idea what's going on in the session. They're just sharing bits on the screen. And invariably this leads to using third-party tools to augment the engagement and analytics, which requires multiple platforms. Not a great outcome. And so the question you could ask is, well, what actually is an effective virtual class? And it's simple. It's measured in learning outcomes. The students are showing up not to meet. They want to learn. That was the whole purpose of the class. Then the question becomes, well, how do you get there? If you're using video conferencing tools, the answers that we would hear is you just need more webcams. But that's not the answer. And this is the data to prove it. So during COVID, most online classes were taught using video conferencing. And as a result, the scores for the NCES show a precipitous drop in reading and math. That is attributed to passive learning. It was horrible. Let's do something different. So here's a quote from Activate Learning. They use Canvas plus BigBlueButton. And what they find in their online classes, that they have achieved a full grade point higher than equivalent in-person classes. That's what you want to achieve. That's what's possible when you approach virtual classes in a way, when you do something different than using video conferencing systems. And that difference is actually the BigBlueButton difference. We are built around pedagogy, the science of teaching and learning, which says that active learning is way more effective than passive learning. We give the instructor live analytics so they can see who's struggling and give them feedback in the moment. And then with the deep integration with Canvas, which I'll show, these three are multiplied. And then you can start to achieve results like Activate Learning. So what does it mean when it says built around pedagogy? I'll show you. So this is Bloom's taxonomy. It's the 6 stages of learning. And what's really interesting is that these stages go through apply, assess, and evaluate. This is the active learning part before you get to mastery. You cannot get to mastery unless you actively learn. Watching isn't enough. Another theory which underpins this is the zone of proximal development. It sounds complex, but it's not. What it means is that you can learn on your own a certain amount of capabilities, but if you want to learn at the upper end of efficiency, and that assistance may come from peers in breakout rooms, it may come from the instructor, but you're going to have active assistance in helping you learn. And that's what the virtual class should be doing. So the question then is, how do you get students in the zone? When you're teaching, you provide some scaffolding so that they can do the activity. The activity requires purposeful effort, which is, think of the opposite of passive learning. You monitor the progress and you give feedback. So let's take this and build it into a class. This is what we teach our customers on how to deliver effective virtual classes. There's some component up front of every class to strengthen relationships. Students must feel comfortable making mistakes and learning in front of others. You review, you preview, there's the main segment, active recall, and you do the next steps. In the main segment, this is where you put the scaffolding in, you get them to do an activity, and then at the end you do active recall. Notice that we're not talking about technology, we're talking about the pedagogical approach. The solution is always more than technology, but both of them work together. So when students are applying themselves, there's this cycle of active learning that goes on. You give them an activity, they put some purposeful effort towards it, you give them feedback in the moment, and they achieve a higher level of understanding. The goal that you're trying to get for students is to realize the more I apply myself, the faster I learn. If I go into a gym and work out, looking at the weights doesn't make any difference. But if I work out, and I work out efficiently, I get the best results, which is really what the virtual class should be, an efficient workout for the mind that gets the best learning outcomes. So it's now and only now that we talk about the features of BigBlueButton. These features are built in to help you get students to apply themselves. When using these capabilities, they generate analytics, and these analytics give you insight into which students may be struggling. You can think of it as this. With BigBlueButton, there's no back of the classroom. So let's see how this looks. You have multi-user whiteboard built in. which you can get students to work together with you on the whiteboard, and this is especially good in breakout rooms. We have a concept of visual assessment where you can turn off the pointers for students so they can't see who each other's pointing at, and this makes it really easy that in anything you're doing visually to just start asking students like, where is Spain? And you'll visually see if they're actually following you along or not. There are emojis that you can ask students to give feedback during this session. There's built-in shared notes for class and group collaboration. And of course, breakout rooms is really powerful. In BigBlueButton, you can actually have BigBlueButton return the whiteboard and the shared notes back to the main room after the session's done. And then it's easy to get students to present on it. And with each breakout room, you can put different activities in the breakout rooms. You can also monitor the breakout rooms live. You can monitor all of them, and then you can jump into any breakout room and give help. Polling is a really powerful way to engage students, and BigBlueButton can give you live polling results so you can see students as they respond. But it's even better in BigBlueButton. In BigBlueButton, the slides are uploaded into memory for screen readers, and it's possible to look at the slides and actually see, is there a poll question? It seems silly to type it over again when it's right there in the slides. So I'm going to show you how this works. So here, I'm actually in BigBlueButton. I'm going to move this over, and I have a student who's here in the sessions with me as well. So you can see this as I draw on the whiteboard. You can see it appear on the right-hand side. So let's go to a question. Did Einstein discover the atom? Yes or no? Again, I don't have to type this in. BigBlueButton is read into memory. I just click yes or no, and immediately the students are prompted. So I can say the answer is no, it wasn't Einstein. And if I look over here, you can see the live results came back. You can publish the results and they're visible to students, or you could choose not to. The key point is this is formative assessment with a single click, and BigBlueButton reads the text off the slides for you. You don't have to type it in again. Let's try another one. What are the rings of Saturn made of? A, B, C, D. Okay, again, I don't have to type anything in. It's made of iron. It's not gummy bears. And again, I can publish, or I could just go to the next. Here's an example of a multiple response. I use 2 question marks. So in this case, I can respond back to multiple choices. So salt is sodium chloride. And again. So as I'm doing this, BigBlueButton is actually keeping track of what is going on with each of the students. And this is in the Learning Analytics dashboard. So this dashboard, you can think of it as your co-pilot. And this is one of the key differences. It's helping you remember what students have done during this session so that you can see if students are struggling. It does this through an activity score, so you can see if they're actively engaging with you and using the tools and the capabilities. And it also keeps track of all the poll questions, so you don't have to remember which students may or may not have responded. And this is extremely powerful. So the example here is if you notice that Sam hadn't been responding to the polls, and if you said to Sam in the class, hey, don't worry if you get it wrong, this is how you'll learn. If Sam was familiar using video conferencing tools, they would immediately wonder, like, how is it possible the teacher's aware of me? I'm not sharing my webcam. With BigBlueButton, we give you analytics so you can see who's struggling and give them feedback in the moment. That's the difference between us and the video conferencing system. And that is why Instructure built BigBlueButton into the core of Canvas. Again, they did it in 2012. It's right there. It's part of the course tools. It's easy to set up a conference. They call it conferences. It's easy to set up a BigBlueButton session. And the button is blue. When you do that, you have some options such as enabling recording or no time limit. That makes it easy to have just one link in the course to go to all the classes. There's some other capabilities where you can invite specific people in the course into the conference, and you can also preset some of the limitations. So maybe you don't want students doing private chat messages, for example. When you start a conference, Canvas sends an email out to every student saying it started, so it automatically notifies them, saving you time. The launch from Canvas into BigBlueButton requires no software to install, like Canvas itself. And after you're done and the recording is ready, you as the instructor will get an email notification when it is. That recording is available inside of Canvas. The students can click on it and view it with one link, and you have the ability to delete it if you want. Because of the deep integration, BigBlueButton is also available in student groups as well. So what's great is BigBlueButton, which we call BigBlueButton Essentials, is built in and available to every Canvas customer worldwide. It's there for you when you use Canvas. It's available for up to 5 simultaneous sessions, and the recordings expire after 7 days. So really good to try out, really good to use. And if you want to use it for lots of classes, you can upgrade to what we call BigBlueButton Enhanced. Just contact your CSM. You'll be able to host as many simultaneous sessions as you need, and the recordings are permanent. And you have more capabilities as well. The analytics is actually available to you in the recordings as a format called statistics. So when the instructor looks at that, they can see what the students have done during the class after it's over. The recordings can be automatically integrated with Canvas Studio, another example of a deep integration. We, Blindside Networks, can give you access to BigBlueButton outside of Canvas with something we call personal rooms. And there's additional collaborative capabilities built into Enhanced. For example, the Q&A module. And when you upgrade, you also get training as well, because the answer is not just technology. It's really leaning in to how to teach virtual classes effectively with a combination of pedagogy and a platform that understands what you're trying to do. And as an add-on, we can also provide what we call the Enterprise Learning Analytics Dashboard, so you can see data from all of your sessions and look for trends. Again, none of this exists with video conferencing systems, but with a platform that understands what the goal is, you can use this data to make data-driven decisions to continually improve the virtual classes. And here's a second result. So Minerva Virtual Academy is one of the UK's fastest growing online schools. They use Canvas plus BigBlueButton. They found this seamless integration has saved them countless hours each week, and they found these tools together help them create a world-class learning environment for their students. We help Minerva, and we can help you achieve similar results. So in summary, the difference is this. BigBlueButton with Canvas is built around pedagogy. The goal of the virtual classroom is not to meet, it is to learn. You do that by having a platform that provides built-in tools for active learning, which is way more effective than passive learning. Those tools generate analytics so the instructor can give feedback to students when it matters most in the moment. And then with a deep integration, you multiply those together, and the result is you can ensure that every student learns. I invite you to contact us here at Canvas CSM to see how you can achieve similar results with Canvas plus BigBlueButton.